What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Rurouni Kenshin. This is episode 10, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Mhm. Uh, this of course continues on with the whole um, storyline with Megami being involved with the whole opium distribution. So now that Megami is like living with Kenshin and the others, she gets to starts getting used to her role as as I guess being one of the new housekeepers of the dojo. Of course, Kaoru is still uh still shows signs of jealousy towards her because she constantly gets close to Kenshin every single time. Um, however, one day one of Kanryu's assassins or hired ninjas end up blackmailing her to come back to work with Kanryu. Otherwise, he'll end up poisoning up uh, p- dump poison in the dojo well. So she has no choice but to go back to Conryu to, I guess, work with him again. So she leaves like this fake note saying that she's heading home to her village, but Kenshin knows that she's being forced back into working with Conryu again. So he's
Well,
gonna go.
I thought it was funny that the reason they even tried to they tried to blackmail her instead of sort of like forcing her to come back was because they didn't want to provoke Kenshin, according to Kanryu. But of course, Kenshin ends up figuring out what's going on anyway.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just kind of funny. Like he figures it out on him almost immediately.
Yeah, of course, Sanosuke is a little bit reluctant in wanting to help Megami because, as we remember in a couple episodes ago, one of his friends ended up dying due to opium addiction, and he kind of blames Megami for that in a way, even though like she has no for her part, she didn't really have much of a choice, but to to make the opium for Kanri in the first place. But eventually, Sanosuke with the help of Kenshin, convincing him, he eventually decides to come along. Same with Yahiko, surprisingly.
I was
This,
also kind of surprised by that because I thought Yahiko was sort of more so just a background character, and he didn't really take an active role in helping out with whatever is going on with Kenshin.
yeah,
Especially
considering
considering how he is in the movies, and I I think in the original TV series as well, he kind of he's more so just I guess a comic relief character. So
yeah,
I was kind of surprised that he actually went along with them.
I mean, considering that they're headed into almost like a fortress style mansion, with a hell of a lot of hired guns, willing to kill Kenshin and the others if they ended up interfering.
Hmm.
However, so we go back to to Conryu's mansion. Um, of course, talking to Megami about wanting her services again, but of course, Megami decides to take it upon herself to kill him and as well as herself. But she's of course stopped by Shinomori, and of course she's eventually taken prisoner, but not before taking a beating from Konryu.
Yeah, I found it interesting too that she sort of just slashes his arm and doesn't really go for any vital areas when she pulls out the knife to try to kill him. I kind of wonder if it's because she couldn't bring herself to kill him, or maybe she just missed. I'm not sure, but
I think
yeah,
it's more that she kind of missed, and she was aiming to kill Konryu, but of course, like I
yeah,
said, Shinomori ended up taking the knife from her.
yeah. And and of course, yeah, they said that he's going to torture her to get the information out of her. This is when Kenshin and Sanosuke and the
Yahiko.
Yahiko arrive, yeah, and they arrive outside the gate. Um, it pretty much happens more or less the same way that I remember from the live action movie, aside from Yahiko being there. They end up fighting just a bunch of the Kanryu's hired guards, and end up sort of confronting him from outside. And well, I I think this does kind of happen the same way as that Kanryu tries to negotiate with Kenshin. Um, but of course, Kenshin doesn't want any money. He just wants uh, he just wants her back. You know, he's not really interested in money or just anything like that. So, uh, I found it kind of funny when he just sort of walks off and they, you know, everybody thinks that Kenshin is just accepting his deal that he would bring her back within an hour, but as we know, he plans to torture her. So Kenshin, what he does is cut down a light post, and it just falls against like the mansion, and I guess just sort of to scare Conryu or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of it was pretty ridiculous. Like I thought at first like what he was going to do was maybe like I don't know, like maybe destroy, like start destroying his opium supply or something. But he just does that to intimidate him.
Yeah. For what most of the a lot of the characters, in this show don't even realize that Kenshin is, of course, a pacifist, but they still believe he's still like the the hired killer that he was back prior to the Meiji era.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we cut back to Megumi, who's been taken up to I think the third floor, or like the third floor into this room, and she's given her knife back by, I forget what his name is,
Shinomori.
Shinomori, yeah. He gives her the knife and says that, of course, Conryu plans to torture her within an hour. So he basically gives her the option of just ending her own life, without having just being tortured to death. So in a weird way, I guess he's trying to be like merciful, but he also says that he's more so interested in just fighting Kenshin, the Batosai, and I guess he's not really so much interested in whatever Conryu wants. He's more so he more so just wants a fight with Kenshin.
Yeah, and of course we cut back to Kenshin's group, and they're getting ready for possibly another fight inside the mansion, looking for Megumi. But of course, yeah, like Shinomori is looking for a one-on-one fight against Kenshin because he knows his reputation as the Batosai.
Yeah. That's kind of where things end too. It's sort of just setting up for this, I guess, a fight, clash between Kenshin and Conryu's group. But yeah, the episode went by pretty quick, I guess, just because like it felt more so just like it was like I said, set up for this fight. But it was nice actually seeing some more action, even though it wasn't the best. It wasn't really great animation or anything like that, but I think they're saving that maybe for like certain like particular scenes where there's like maybe like a big fight scene or something.
Yeah, and of course we are heading into the climax of the first core, and of course they already as of earlier today they already confirmed that that there is going to be a second core immediately after this, starting in October.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I kind of figured that this is going to be like a full season. The question, though, I guess, is if they're going to be adapting the entire story from the manga. And if that's the case, then there would probably be multiple seasons.
Yeah, based on how much material they have to cover, I doubt that another 12 episodes is going to cover everything. Maybe they might cover parts of the Shishio arc, but maybe that might be held off until maybe another season comes around.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if I'm just going off of the movies, Shishio is the next villain to really show up after Conryu. So that I'm guessing they're probably saving that for maybe the second core of the first season.
Most likely.
Yeah, they'll probably tease him at the end of this core, and then he'll probably show up later. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about this episode in particular. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
It was a good way to start off the the potential climax of the first core. That definitely that is what they're aiming for, to end the Conryu arc with Kenshin and his friends rescuing Megumi.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what I'm most interested in is also seeing some of the differences between this and the live action version. So far for this part of the story, it actually has followed the live action fairly well. So I mean, I am wondering if there's going to be any just any differences between the two. Um,
Yeah. I mean, there are some subtle differences between of course, what they're adapting in the first core and, of course, the movie. Because if you remember, Gina was was working with Connery in the live action film, but of course, um, in the anime and manga, they ended up killing Gina off before this whole arc started. So I mean,
yeah.
it's a clever way for them to merge parts of the storyline and its characters into that film. Despite some of its differences, but it still turned out to be like a great adaptation.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, guys, so that all makes sense. Until next time, we will see you all later.